This is not a video about the dark side of Hollywood. It is instead a video about how Hollywood, or more precisely mainstream media, depicts and films darkness. If you ever try taking a picture of your best friend passed out in a dimly lit nightclub, you probably know that shooting in a low-light environment is not easy. So if filming in the darkness is so tricky, then how does Hollywood do it? Well, more often than not, they simply don't. Hollywood darkness is not just a phrase I made up. It's a well-known trope where a supposedly dark area is lit well enough for the audience to see what's going on. One can argue that this is done to varying degrees of success, meaning that in some cases it's done well, and in others, not so much. Let's look at some examples. In Star Trek Picard, which is a terrible show by the way, the forest is clearly visible and the flashlight doesn't really do anything except remind the audience that it's supposed to be dark. This, of course, is not what a nighttime forest looks like, but since it looks good on film, it has pretty much become the norm. One episode later, we find the main characters in a basement. For most of the scene, they have no light at all, but they don't really need one because basements in Hollywood have nice transparent ceilings which allow abundant moonlight, or whatever this light is supposed to be, to just shine in. Okay, next example. In Jurassic World Dominion, also a terrible movie by the way, we can see a typical Hollywood cave which conveniently has a glowing ceiling. And once again, the lights that the characters use are pretty much redundant and useless. There are of course different ways to film or to show darkness. ObiWan Kenobi, for all its faults, uses believable darkness in this specific scene. It feels natural, it feels like dusk or maybe dawn. It feels like the characters can see well enough without a light source. Meanwhile, back on planet Earth, Moon Knight demonstrates how Hollywood tombs also have magical ceilings made out of light. The characters soon realize this and just stop using flashlights altogether. Again, the scene does look good, but if you start thinking about it, it just becomes ridiculous. Stumbling around in the darkness is of course also a staple of the horror genre. This is usually achieved by placing actors in a dimly lit area, which is meant to represent complete darkness. We can see an example of this in the opening sequence of the first Saw film. The scene feels authentic because the darkness is frustrating. We want to see what's going on, but we can't. This in turn puts us in the mindset of the character who also cannot see and is confused. In many other cases, the available light is exaggerated. As an example, let's look at a true classic: Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, Indy has just been sealed inside the tomb, and his only light source are a few torches. Again, there's no real darkness to speak of, no contrast between the light of the torches and the ambient darkness. I can't deny that the scene looks good, but when you stop to think about it, there is just no way that a few dying torches could illuminate a room of that size. Moving on, this scene from Prey on the other hand shows us what a torch in the darkness actually looks like. Here there is a distinct contrast between light and dark. We cannot see beyond the light of the torch. There is only darkness. The torch feels, and indeed is, necessary for the characters to navigate the woods at night. Now let's have a look at the two torch scenes side by side. As you can see, the contrast is pretty striking. And the torch on the left doesn't really do anything. Moving on, I will admit that Hollywood does on occasion use real flashlights in real darkness. On this note, I would like to very much praise The Descent. This caving film feels like it's doing actual caving. The flashlights are not props and you can only see what is illuminated by them. The rest is pitch black. When a light is pointed at the camera, it blinds us. Once again, this is realistic and will happen with any decent flashlight. Just for fun, let's compare a prop flashlight to a real flashlight. And yeah, again, the difference is basically night and day. As a bonus bit of trivia, I also want to mention that my fascination with the way films represent darkness stems from my own experiences. I have in fact filmed quite a few videos in dark places, mostly in caves and underground bunkers. So if this is something that might interest you, please take a look at my other channel. There should be a link to it in the description. Okay, so now I wanna know what you guys think. All this stuff with Hollywood darkness, is this something you guys even notice or care about? Please let me know in the comments. That's all for this video. Have a great day, guys! If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.